Good afternoon, agents. My name is Chantelle Nye. I'm with the Supplier Relations Department, and I am filling in for our beautiful Carolyn Orff, who is on assignment. So you will hear more about that later. But I am very happy to be with you. So, welcome to our biweekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. We would we're so excited to be with you. It has been a very busy month this past month. Here at KHM, we have had Boot Camp 1.0, we have had Luxury Symposium, and we're looking forward to our last Boot Camp 1.0 in November. And it's going to be over a weekend. So that's something new that we're trying. So we're very, very excited about that. Lots of things going on, but I don't want to hold off any longer with introducing our guests. So, this year at Destination Success, we asked agents to submit topics that they would like to present. Carol Hattrop, one of our agents, did just that and was selected to present on how to get clients to read what you write. Wow. Yeah. I saw her. I was moderating. I listened. I was blown away. So we are very excited to have her with us here today. We all know this is a struggle. We asked her to join us today for the National Day of Writing. Did you know today is the National Day of Writing? So, Sam, will you please bring on Miss Carol Hattrop? Hello.
Hi, Chantelle. It's so great to see you again.
Great to
I
see you.
I can't really conceive of the fact that so much time has passed since Destination Success.
It seems like yesterday, right?
It really does. This is October. I don't know what happened.
I know, it's crazy. No, I have to tell you, I was very, very blessed to be in your presentation. I was moderating, and I am a booking agent as well, so that was very relatable. As well as a large part of my job is communicating with the suppliers to get them to come to all of our events. Bridget and I work very hard building these relationships, but it's the communication to get out to them to make sure. So we had 93 suppliers make it to Destination Success, and they all showed up. But as you were talking, I was thinking, oh, wow, I really need to go back and look at my communication. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about yourself, please.
Oh gosh, there's too much to tell. Well, I am a part-time travel agent and I feel so lucky to be with KHM. It's hard to get traction sometimes in my travel business because I have a full-time day job in software. I'm a technical writer, which is where a lot of my skills and communication come from. I'm also a mother of two, and I just launched my youngest to college just after Destination Success. So yeah, that's been a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a poet. I'm a published poet, have been for quite a long time, a published essayist, and I just had my first freelance article published in a regional magazine. I'm very proud of that. Actually, I got the check today for my article, and it's a tiny check, but I just could not be more proud of it.
Oh, that
I
is wonderful.
Yeah, I like to think of myself as continuing to unlock levels of writing, which is something I talk about in my session. And when I talk to agents about writing, I make it clear that I'm not perfect. I haven't figured it all out, that writing is one of those skills that you just keep growing as you go. I'm a better writer now than I was last month. I'm a better writer this week than I was last week. You're always exercising that muscle and learning. So I'm still doing that too.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah,
You wear a lot of hats.
too many, too many hats right now. That is true. That is true.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, congratulations on being an empty nester.
Thank you. It's very interesting.
It's an adjustment,
Yes,
right?
it
Yes.
is. It is.
Oh gosh. Well, Carolyn, she always tries to get me prepared. So I just love her. So we have some things that we wanted to discuss, and a lot of some of the things we want to go back to your destination success presentation as well,
Sure.
because it was just amazing. Um, so tell me, so many agents say that it is so hard and challenging to get their clients to read what
Mhm.
they are sending over. I can attest, I feel the same way sometimes. What challenges, what can you tell us to overcome those challenges? Because it's frustrating, right? We feel like we're spending all this
Mhm.
time trying to help them,
Mhm.
and they're coming back with questions that were in the email they should have read, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've thought a lot about why clients aren't reading, why people in general aren't reading, and I think it comes down to basic overwhelm. I really do. I think that's at the heart of it all. And and I know that when I put myself in the shoes of being a reader, right? Sometimes I'm the reader reading something someone sent me, like a supplier, and I have trouble making it through a paragraph, honestly. And I'm a professional reader and writer, right? That's my job. And I just think we're so overwhelmed these days, all of us, no matter what role we're in, it's just too much. And so one of the main things that we can do to overcome that for our readers to help them is to write less. And that's hard to grasp because it sounds counterintuitive, right? We need to give them the information. We're all in agreement about that, and I think they would be in agreement that they need the information. It's not that we're not in agreement about the objective, it's how to get there. And so, to get there, to reach the objective of giving them the information they need, it's on us to pare it down, to remove all the unnecessary words, and to reduce the overwhelm for them. That's the best gift we can give them. And it's hard, we're in this job because we want to help people's on their vacation, we want to help them with all the information they need. We want to give them the instructions because we know how to do it and they don't. That's why they hired us, to give them that service. And giving and service to us feels like giving them information. So we give it all to them. So I understand that it's counterintuitive. I do get that. But the fact is, less is more. Less is more when it comes to reading and writing.
And I wrote that down. I wrote that because I went back and I had notes from
Oh,
your
yeah,
presentation.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
want to
less
hear what you got out of it. You personally,
well,
I want to hear your notes.
well,
Yeah.
the less is more.
Mhm.
And I have really taken that to heart, um, with both professionally in my job and with my clients. You also made a comment, and I can't remember exactly what it was, about not writing a novel,
Mhm.
because that's no- what we tend to want to do. We feel like we have to give every single detail. You gave the example of Animal Kingdom,
Yeah, yeah.
remember, in your presentation, and
Yes.
it was, this big paragraph, and then you're like, nope, it just has to say Animal Kingdom is like a zoo. And then instead of going into detail about you need to go in the morning, the best time to go is in the morning, just parroting it down. And
Yeah.
it's information that we know up here, right? But we don't think that's enough. We feel, I at least I do. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. I feel like, but I need to go in and I need to explain because I'm a talker.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I do. And
The
but
funny
no,
Go ahead.
no, that resonated with me, is less is more. You can say a lot with fewer words.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to believe, but it's true. I was going to say the funny thing is I wrote that example because I'm the one who kept doing that. I'm a Disney theme park fanatic. That's how I got into travel in the first
Okay.
place. And I love to talk about Disney parks, especially Animal Kingdom. It's my favorite one. And I somehow think people, I guess I imagine that people want to know everything I know about Animal Kingdom. So I have found I've laughed at myself. My client might ask me a question, just one simple question, and I might answer it, but I also just go over and above, beyond, and I just write them a whole novel about Animal Kingdom in my excitement and my enthusiasm. And at
Right.
some point, I just thought, Carol, they didn't even ask you about Animal Kingdom being a zoo. Like, why did you do that? And I think we just want to share our love of the places that we're sending them, as well as give them all that information. So that example was from myself. I'm the
Right.
one who kept doing that, and I finally learned to stop. What happens actually is if people want to know more, they'll ask.
True.
They'll tell us. They'll pull out those threads of information that they need.
Yes. No, that's very true. You also went over readers in your presentation, the acronym of readers. Can you
Mm,
touch on that?
yes. Oh no, I should have written it down because sometimes I
Oh, I
forget.
have it.
So
I have
good,
it.
you remind me. Yeah, yeah. So I came up with that acronym just to help people remember all the steps that I was trying to teach, because I have to follow my own advice, right? If I'm going to give you 45 minutes or hours of information about how to do this,
Yeah.
I had to find a way to help people remember. So I just worked it out like a puzzle to match those different aspects of what I was teaching to the reader's acronym. So help me if I forget, because I often
Yep.
do. R is for rethink the reason, and
Correct.
that
Yep.
means think about why people aren't reading. Instead of centering ourselves as the writer, as the people with the information, think for a moment about what the other person is experiencing. Put yourself in their shoes. They may
Mhm.
not be a skilled reader. They might be overwhelmed. There are so many reasons they might not be reading. But we have to stop being so angry and frustrated all the time. And I use the word we again. I get angry and frustrated. And then E was for establish consistency.
And patterns. Yes.
Yes, and patterns, about the importance of how the brain processes information coming in. It has to be consistent.
Hmm.
A was adjust the goal.
Hmm.
That went back to that, probably that comment about the novel, that when we come to different types of output, we have a goal for what we're looking at. We don't read a Jane Austen novel to figure out what's for dinner at our favorite restaurant. We don't read a shopping list to figure out how to get to the airport, right? We come primed for a goal, and when we write information, we need to write with that goal in mind. That's where I talk about the difference between marketing and
Yes.
instructions. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
READ is divide into types. This is like a little test. That there are only 3 types of instructional writing in the whole world. You can think of it as 3 types. And if we divide our writing into those types, it helps us organize and reduce that information. And then the next E is the one I always forget because there are 2 E's.
Embed. Embed the
Embed
meaning.
meaning. Embed meaning visually with formatting. So making our own style guide, thinking to ourselves that when we bold a word, it means emphasis. And when we italicize a word, it means a name. And always being consistent with that type of formatting, not switching it up every time, because we can make such an impact with formatting, with fewer words. What is the next letter? R. Reduce to essentials. And that was what we started the show talking about, not writing so much, reducing the amount of words. And then S was sharpen your tools.
Mhm.
And that means taking advantage of free tools all around us, free resources to measure our writing and kind of grade it, figure out what grade level it's at, whether it's readable, accessible, or not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was it was amazing, and it really resonated with me. Um, it you want your clients to understand, again, everything. And I think communication also goes back to the qualifying process of how do your
Mm,
clients want to be communicated with? Like, do they prefer, like I have some clients that are engineers who are very precise. They know exactly what they want. They have that type of personality. So I know when I send communication to them, I am really being very concise and I am bullet pointing. Like
mhm.
this is what I need you, there's not a lot of fluff. I don't put little smiley faces, and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But but I know what is going to get their attention and it's going to be efficient. So do you feel that way? Do you feel it goes back to getting to know your clients and how they like to communicate?
Yeah, I think that's a large part of it. I'm glad you brought that up. I should add that to my own talk. You're reminding me of a client I had once that was an accountant. And at the time, I was just making simple Excel sheets to show comparisons between resorts.
Mhm.
It wasn't very, markety of me because that was a failure on my part. Like I wasn't thinking about selling and pictures, everything. I was just like,
Yeah.
let me put the numbers together. And it turned out that she loved that. And she took my she kept saying, oh, I love this as in a spreadsheet. I'm like, oh yeah, you're an accountant. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, I think you've got a good point there. There probably are clients who don't mind if we write a lot, who maybe do want that detail. So, gosh, that's a good thought. How could we add that into our qualifying process? What is a non-awkward way of saying, do you want me to be chatty when I write, or do you prefer like bullet points? Maybe we just need to get a sense of that. Tell me if
Right.
you get any ideas about that, because that's a really good point. If somehow we could figure out what their style was or their appetite for reading, or maybe that's when we could find out, hey, they just prefer a phone call and they don't want stuff in writing. I don't know.
Well, I
Postponement.
that was something else I was gonna ask because, I do have clients, and I'm working with some right now that I'm sending over, emails and documentation, and we're communicating back and forth, and it's been kind of like pulling teeth, because I'm sending all these details, I'm waiting for them to respond, and I end up picking up the phone
Hmm.
and saying, "Hey, listen, I need to go over this email with you because I need this response like tomorrow. Like I
Hmm.
need you." And then when it was time, they're leaving on Friday. I got together with them last weekend. I printed out all the vouchers, all the itineraries, and I spent almost 3 hours with them going over line by line because I didn't feel that they were understanding
Hmm.
all the details that we had put together over the past 2 months, right?
Hmm.
So after that, it was like a light bulb went off, and it's like, how do you get them to take the time to go over everything? You're doing your due diligence, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure everything is in place for a reason.
Hmm.
What is your opinion on that?
I think you did exactly the right thing, getting together with them, getting on the phone. And other than that, all I know is to make sure that they've signed the terms and conditions that say they're responsible, and not proceed with them as a client if they don't. I mean, that's the only way I know to
Yeah,
truly protect ourselves, but I think what you did was right. I too have met clients in person, at a coffee shop or whatever, but sometimes we just have to do that. Get on a video call, get on a phone call. Sometimes there's no way around it. We could make our writing as simple as possible, and it's not going to help. It's not going to push through for whatever reason. They could be
right,
unskilled readers for a number of reasons, or that for whatever reason they just don't want to take the time. You know, I don't. It's
right.
their vacation, but we have to protect ourselves. So
100%, absolutely. We did have a comment here, Laura Lee Johnson. She said there is also that paper trail that we need to have to show. How do we weave that in?
well, I find using a tool like Turn is the best way. Any tool that has read receipts and acknowledgments and keeps that paper trail for you is so perfect. If you don't want to pay for a tool like Turn, I don't know what Tess has, but I used to just have a folder in my Gmail per back when I was just using a regular Gmail. And yeah, I had too many folders, but I didn't, it was a way to stay organized. Each folder would be the client name, and every single thing we talked about would go in that folder. I had a corresponding folder, in Windows where I would keep track of stuff. So yeah, that's a hard thing, that paper trail. But I do think we have to keep it. I think that has to be part of our process.
I I I do too, and I do the same thing. I have a folder with my clients' information, and it has helped me a lot in
Hmm.
certain situations. If a client comes back and says, "Well, no, I didn't want that," I can literally go back and find the conversation. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I fully believe in keeping that paper trail for
But
sure.
but even if we end up, having to rely on phone calls and in-person meetings, I still go back to, I think we need to have clear, succinct, organized writing in the first place, right? And not bury the important information. I'll never forget this one Facebook conversation. You know how those go. It wasn't a KHM conversation, but a woman was complaining, and she was using those always words. I send this same information every time. She was all capital letters, always, to every client. They never read it. She was so frustrated. We're all jumping in trying to help. And someone finally said, "Okay, why don't you show us what you're sending so we can take a look?" Sure enough, I don't remember how many paragraphs. It was a lot of words, or maybe it was just one one long paragraph. But the most important thing that she was trying to convey was the last sentence. And so she had, it's called bearing the lead in journalism, right? She had
Okay.
built up and built up, and then put that thing in the last sentence. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, she's right. No client will ever read. And I wasn't the only one who said, you need, you need to take the important part and put it up top. So yes, we still have to meet and have paper trails, that we have to do all the things, but it's also on us just to know what's important and to convey that as simply as possible. And if it takes multiple emails, so be it. If you need to say something so important, like about a passport, send it. That's the subject line, and that's the body of the email, and that's it. All caps, like whatever it takes. It's on us to keep on that, to be responsible for that communication.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. So, I heard you spoke at a content conference last week.
Hmm.
Tell me about that.
I did. That was a content strategy conference in line with my technical writing job, my day job in software. I go every year. It's called the LavaCon Content Strategy Conference because it started in Hawaii over 20 years ago. So that's where lava
Fun.
comes from. And I started going a few years ago, and I taught a poetry workshop this time, a 4-hour pre conference workshop, taught tech writers how to write poetry. And then a colleague and I spoke on the main stage, a joint talk about poetry and AI, of all things. We were making the case that returning to poetry, the ancient art, and something that we're all born into the world knowing how to do, returning to poetry returns us to our love of communication, our love of words, and that if we practice the art of poetry, we practice becoming better communicators. And we tied that to AI to talk about how AI can only be a good tool when it is resting on a foundation of good content. So good writers make good content, which makes good AI. And then I spoke a third time, filling in for someone who couldn't make it, um, pertaining to what we're talking about. I actually transposed my whole talk, how to write so your clients will read, into how to write so your colleagues won't hate you. And I just, I just, because if you think communication in travel is rough, you should jump into the corporate world. Oh my. So I just changed examples and context and used the reader's framework to talk to software professionals about how we need to make our communications more clear, our PowerPoints and our
Sure.
emails and our Teams chats, and that was
Yeah,
really fun. So I'm very tired. I'm still recovering from that
I'm sure you
conference,
are.
but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
So you brought up AI, so we
Hmm.
can't leave here without talking about
No,
AI.
no, we can't. We got to talk about AI.
Got to talk about it. There's a lot going on with AI right now. What
Hmm.
is your take on travel agents using AI chatbots to write client communications?
I think using AI as a tool is something we all need to be doing. I am a huge proponent of AI. I have a paid Claude AI account that I use all the time. I am expected to use AI at work. Many people are. So I'm all for AI. Where I run into trouble, or where I think others run into trouble, is using AI output as is. So, in fact, this whole passion of mine started because of AI, because I was watching a travel agent webinar where someone who had developed an AI travel tool was showing it to agents. Fantastic tool, but the output was coming out in these giant walls of words, right, with no formatting,
Right.
very difficult to read. And my worry was that agents were just going to copy and paste that. And I do see that a lot at work and with agents everywhere. You write your great prompts. AI is a great tool. It gives you wonderful information. Let's assume it's accurate, just for the sake of argument. Assume it's all accurate. The output is not always readable or accessible to everyone. It's not parsed out well. It's not organized. It can be a wall of words. It can be a little jumbled in terms of organization. So, what I really have trouble with is agents just saying, great, copying it, pasting it, and clicking send. That's what we have to get away from. Use AI as a tool, yes, but be really mindful of what it looks like when it comes out, that output. And of course, we have to double check it. I'm not even going to talk about
Right.
accuracy because that's a whole different
Right.
different subject. Assuming it's accurate, you have to be responsible for knowing what it says, how it's being said, whether the words could be simpler, whether or not it's accessible, breaking it down, reducing it, because AI is very wordy
Yes.
on its own. You have to direct it to not be wordy. What about you? How do you feel about AI and its
So,
use as an agent?
well, and I agree. I feel like some people might be using it as a time saver.
Hmm.
And that's where what you just said comes into play because it you can't just copy and paste it and not pay attention to what it says.
Hmm.
It can be part of what you want to say, but again, it AI is never going to take over a person and a personality
Never,
and that connection and that
never.
relationship.
No.
That relationship building is what we do. That is the foundation of being a travel advisor, right? So I feel like AI, like you said, can be used as a tool with direction and it can help us, but it's not going to be a time saver where we could just put in a question and then send it to our clients and not read it, make sure it's accurate. I know here at work we have an AI note taker that our department has used and other departments here at KHM.
Hmm.
So when we're on a call, that will come on and we are blown away with what it takes out of that half-hour meeting with a supplier or whoever
Hmm.
and puts it into this nice little compact, information ball, that we can put into our CRM, that we have for taking
Hmm.
notes with our suppliers. So there is I know there's good and bad to it. I think it's we just need to be educated, and we need to use it for the benefit of our clients and the benefit of our
Mhm.
agencies and our business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Agree, totally. It's
Yeah.
a tool like any other, but we just have to wield it well. And
Yeah,
I think
yes,
learning to write better and to edit better is part of learning to use that tool, in my opinion.
absolutely. So one last question before we go. I'm sorry we're keeping you over a little bit. Um,
No, no, I'm good to go. This is fun. I
it
miss
was.
you. I miss
I
you.
know, I miss you too.
I it really I could chat with you all day. Bring it on.
So if an agent is listening and thinking, I need more help with this, what resources do you have available?
Yes, it I in time for this, because I thought about that myself. I'm like, how do I keep helping people? I want this to continue. I started a private Facebook group so that I could just for agents, no clients, no one who's not an agent or connected with travel in some way, um, so that I could help people with their writing, and so we could help each other as we learn. And now I have to remember the name of it because I just started. I think I called it Travel Agent Writing Lab. Yes, it's called Travel Agent Writing Lab. How can I get the name of that group out to KHM agents um, so that they could join? We could all start helping each other.
Well, you can email me the link
Okay.
and we can promote that for you 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I say we all learn these techniques and we help each other with our client writing and all get better together. Um, yeah, yeah. I wasn't sure how else to continue this. Now I am active in the KHM group already on Facebook, so I want to start being more active in there. I invite anyone to uh, place their concerns, their struggles, their client writing, just gray out the names, keep things private.
Sure.
But I'm happy to help. I want to keep helping.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Carol. It was so great seeing you again.
It was good to see you again too. When is our next opportunity?
Are you coming on Crystal? Or,
No, I wish I could, but
okay.
I've got this day job that
I,
that is not aligned with travel. I wish it was aligned with travel, but it's
yeah.
not. So
Well,
Crystal
we'll
would
have
have
to
been
find some
nice.
time.
Yeah,
Crystal
we
or
will.
Destination Success next July.
Sure,
We'll,
that will work.
yep.
Hopefully before then, though. Yeah.
I know. I know. I miss you. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. We so appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and helping our agents. I mean, it's just it means a lot to all of us. So
Well,
thank you
it's
so
my
much.
pleasure. Thank you for having me, and please say hi to everyone in the office for me.
I will. I will. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, agents, for joining us. I really hope you enjoyed today's session with Carol. She is amazing. Once she sends the link over to the Facebook page, we will go ahead and promote that because she is a rock star. So we will see you on November 5th is our next KHM Today. And we will be very excited to have you join us. And Carolyn will be back. So have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Bye bye.